all things lesson planning, which for me is really exciting because it's something I love and I enjoy, but I know that for many of you it can be overwhelming and stressful. So I'm here today to share with you some of my tips and tricks I've learned in my years of teaching, and I hope that it encourages you in your lesson plan. I wanted to tell you just a little bit of my background. So I've been teaching 5 years. I am a second grade teacher. I've been teaching in the same class, the same grade for 3 years now. I've also been with the same team for 3 years. So my planning is going to look a little bit different than someone who is new to a grade level, a new teacher, or has a whole slew of new people on their team. I also wanted to tell you a little bit about my timing when it comes to planning. My biggest rule or feedback I could give you about lesson planning is do not leave on Friday without having everything planned for the upcoming week. I don't leave Friday unless everything is ready to go for the upcoming week. That way, over the weekend, I don't have to worry or stress about coming up to school or working on lesson plans at home, because the weekend is my time and that's what I want to spend my weekend doing. Okay, so real quick, here are the things I use for lesson planning. So right here, I have my lesson planning journal. This is where I keep all of my shorthand notes. Our district requires us to turn in more in-depth information, but this is what I keep sitting on my desk all day long. And I'll fill this in here in just a minute to show y'all. This is a team planning document that I'll just walk you through really quick. This is something that our team has done. Like I said, we've been together for 3 years now, and it's taken 3 years to get it to where we like it and get it this perfected. But this is a document we work on together. We found that when our team was planning, okay, everybody on Monday is doing one thing, everybody on Tuesday is doing another thing. We found that everybody was just going back to their classroom doing their own thing, and then we were wasting our time lesson planning. So this is the document we came up with instead. So we have our subject, our unit, how long it's going to be, when we're starting and ending. So just kind of that generic information. And then here we have all of our TEKS listed. The highlighted ones are new to this unit, so these are ones we need to make sure to hit especially hard. This is all of the vocabulary that we need to cover in this unit. And then here is whole group instruction ideas, small group and center ideas, and then any resources. We mainly focus on these three categories. So we go through each TEK and look at what the TEK is, and then everyone just shares their ideas for teaching that TEK. And then that way, whenever it comes time for me to do my personal planning, I can look through here and pick from all the ideas that all of the teachers shared. We didn't do it on this one for some reason, so I wrote it in for myself, but we usually do, this is a 4-week unit, so I just kind of map out really broadly what we're going over each week. That way I just kind of have an idea. So you can see it's a few pages long. And then here we go through and actually plan out our learning objectives for each day of the unit. That way we know that our team is all working on the same objective. We just might be teaching it a different way. And then the next item I have here is my handy dandy little blue notepad that I keep to take notes on, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. And then I also am sitting right here next to all of my teaching resources, my Kagan books. I use a lot of Kagan cooperative learning in my classroom, so that's what that is there for. So when it comes time for me to lesson plan, the first thing I do is I go through and I just write down any important information. So like Monday is Martin Luther King Day. This day I'm getting the iPads. Just any little notes that I may need. I know that my morning work is pretty much consistent every single day, so I go ahead and write that down. I also know when I go to the library, so I mark that. I do class meetings, so I make note of what I'm going to do at my class meetings. I try to build a lot of community in my classroom, so I make note of what class builders I'm going to do. I do them during my class meeting time. So I do all those notes first, just to kind of get a rough sketch of what the week is going to look like. Planning for next week. It took me probably about 15 or 20 minutes to write all this down. That doesn't mean it took me 15 or 20 minutes to do my planning. I definitely reviewed these notes and got on Pinterest and looked through some books that I want to read next week, and kind of made those little mental notes. That way whenever I came to do my lesson planning, I had a plan of action. And I just wanted to show you some of the things I do to help with lesson planning, like WG means whole group, student. So I write in a lot of shorthand. Right here I have that the kids are going to discuss the purpose and the topic of the book that we read, and then right here I put TPS, that stands for time, pair, share. So I do a lot of shorthand. Right here, whole group, we're going to read a bio, a biography. I left a big blank there because I don't know what book I'm going to read yet. So I don't have it all, but most of it's there. SG for small group, I just wrote a few notes about what I want to do in my small group. Guided reading, I usually leave blank because I do those lesson plans in a different journal that I'll write a blog on in the future. So there's my plans. Then once I get done with my plans, I take my little blue notepad and I go through each day of the week and I make notes of what exactly I need for each of these days, and I write them down on here. That way tomorrow, Friday, when I get in, I can just take this list and go down the list and make those copies, make those anchor charts, get those materials out. Okay, so there I've got it. I've got all my lesson plans ready to go for next week, and I hope that you were able to find some kind of tip to help you in your lesson planning and make it maybe go a little bit faster. My biggest recommendation would be for you to lesson plan on Thursdays for the whole week, and then Friday work on getting all your materials ready. I know that there are some teachers who plan day by day or the day before they're getting ready for the next day, and I love planning like this because I am able to, like I said, leave Friday with all my plans done, but I also come in to the next week and my planning times and my after school times can be used doing all those daily tasks that as teachers we have to do. Filling out RTI paperwork, answering emails, meeting with parents, all that kind of stuff that comes up last minute. I don't have to be overwhelmed about, oh gosh, I have to get ready for what's happening next because my lesson plans are already done and my materials are already made. So good luck and happy lesson planning.